Okay, I think people can hear me, and they can hear you. And there we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another BAE stream. Today we've got Nada, who goes by Bitcon. How do you say it?
It's just not the other part's just a wallet address, actually, BTC
Oh, right. I
Dex.com.
always thought it was part of the name. So he's come from.
No.
He's been on the BAE since the start. One of the most supportive artists that we have. It's a real honor to have him on today. And he's come from creating pixel potatoes all the way to now making full 3D images. And we're going to kind of get into that and talk about what's next and what's coming next for this artist. So let's get started where we usually start, which is how did you get into art?
I grew up in it. My mother is a painter, so that's I got used to smelling paint thinner and oil paints in the house all the time. Um, but she works with color, and I had always worked in black and white. Didn't really know why until years later, but colorblind. That's what it
Oh,
boils down to.
she was colorblind, so she only worked in black and white
No,
paints. Oh, no.
no, I
Okay.
am.
Oh, okay. So what colors can't you see?
I got trouble with red, green, blue. Um, I don't know. I've never gone for full testing. Just I've got I go for I ended up with an issue with my eyes, so I've got a couple weird blind spots. Don't
Yeah.
mess anything up or whatever, but yeah, I ended up being some colors just don't work out well for me. So
So
what you see as red, I don't see the same. I know it's red
yeah.
because that's all I ever hear, right? So,
But
but
when
what
so
type of red it
what
is,
does
I
it
couldn't tell you.
look like for you? I guess it's the funny thing about colors is almost impossible to describe without a reference point. But what does it
Yeah.
look gray or does it look like a different color?
No, different color.
Okay.
So I'm not colorblind in the aspect that I see black and white.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that. So I can see what color the lights are changing, um, but the shade of yellow you see is completely different than what I see. So uh, green and blue are the probably the worst. So if you have a green painting on your wall, I'm about to tell you it's blue.
Okay.
No, it's not green to me.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I was going to ask more questions about it, but thinking about it, it's almost impossible to say. Well, what color is like? There's no universal reference point to kind of go from. I can't be like, well, what color is the sky? It will be a completely different thing. It's a strange
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's almost like asking what is up or down in space.
So seeing monotone or chromatic uh, pictures, paintings, drawings, much better for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
as we deal with shades, that's where I like to play the most.
what you said your mum kind of was the inspiration for you getting into art. What was what kind of artwork did she create? What was the inspiration there?
Uh, it was about keeping her busy and we were always at home, so grew up pretty poor to say the least. But don't worry, that's no big issue for us. So, um, but so she'd have her easel set up and a canvas going, and she'd probably repaint the canvas 5 6 times in as many years. But she touched on everything. So I was one of the kids that grew up with Bob Ross on TV.
Yeah.
She watched him quite a bit. She curses the fact that she cannot do any work like that guy can.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I always watch them, and I'm like, it's not gonna be that easy. The way that he does it is like
no,
that's
no,
way too amazing. It's like the quality that it comes out at is like I couldn't do that. It's never gonna look the same.
no, the happy birds in the corner are not happy birds.
Yeah.
It's just not. So we didn't have much for cable, so that was it. We got to see him, and but we had the library, so we always had art books at home. So Most of the time, if I went to a bookstore, I was looking through the new sections of any new art coming out, any older art. Um, I couldn't tell you an artist's name to save my life.
Yeah,
I just, you know,
but you know
I'm
the
my
kind
own
of.
artist.
Well, that brings me into my next question, which is kind of what are your influences with kind of who inspires you? Obviously, Bob Ross was a big thing growing up, but is there kind of anyone else in
Yeah.
particular?
Uh, no. Anybody that was just willing to push the envelope, right? Um, so what I like to follow people art wise who don't like to sit in the same corner as everybody else,
Yeah.
right? So everybody's going all these bright colors one day. I'm with the other guy that's going with the muted colors,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and then vice versa, right? I want to be that step ahead, although it looks like a step behind.
I know what you mean. It's it can often seem like you're behind the curve when actually you're coming out in front of it. I think that's an experience that we've had a lot with our platform as well. Going forward. So you'd say Bob Ross and just kind of anyone I guess influencers might be the wrong question. Is there anyone in particular who kind of inspires you in the market as an artist or around the crypto space or just generally?
Lots of, you know what? There's quite a few really, really good artists in the crypto space. They're, I'd like to say they're few and far between, but they're not.
Mm,
They're scattered throughout, and they really kind of hide it. Their artwork shows who they are, but they get kind of drowned out by a lot of the garbage that we see flying around in crypto space for NFTs. And
yeah.
by that I mean, the guys that are just, screenshotting and throwing on 1,000
Yeah.
pieces, in a month, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that's becoming increasingly a problem. I think with the free minting and stuff like that. It's becoming. I mean, I
yeah,
guess it's becoming a real open sea in the literal sense.
yeah. So I have to say, so far, you know, I I would say without doubt, 50% off the top of my head of the artists that are on, and I say that because I really only kind of speak with that 50% or follow that 50%. But your platform with my bay has a lot of a different feel,
Yeah,
right? We have a lot more actual art on there, and I really appreciate that because it gives me different perspectives. I can look at what somebody's doing, and it's almost never the same. Some of the color schemes can, and that's just going with the times, right?
yeah. I
But
mean, red seems to be
everybody's
very
so
popular at the
different.
moment. Yeah. Oh no, thank you. I appreciate that because we try to cater for as many possible people. So with your work, I've got it up to the side so people can have a look as well. Let's start with the first uploads that you did for the BAE, which is the potatoes. Where did the pixel potatoes come from?
Oh, from hanging out with Second Realm on Twitter there, and he got into that potato scheme that he's got going. I'm not sure where he's going with that yet, but ended up with a bunch of potatoes in my wallet and handing them out to everybody. And I chatted with him one night about making some. He asked me actually to make some NFTs for his patrons. Um, but as I said, not sure exactly where he's going with that right now. I think he's kind of all involved with this new unofficial crypto punk thing,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Everyone moves on
which is
so
cool.
quickly.
I like that project, so
Yeah, I think it's really
made it
cool.
for
I think he'll come back to the Tartar project. I think it's kind of we've listed on the BAE. It's just kind of it's sitting there. I think he'll
yeah,
pick it back up. So the
yeah.
potatoes
I'm
kind
not
of
worried.
because you've done quite a creative, and then they're just kind of inspired by people in popular culture and things like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I honestly, it I don't have a lot of experience with digital art,
Yeah,
right? Like I am so far from knowing what I'm doing, right? Which is really weird that I looked at 3D and I thought, hey, that would be great. But once I picked up, a tablet, and then downloaded a program. It just sunk right in. It was no problem. It fit like a glove. Uh, so the Pixel Potatoes was a way for me to learn uh, uh, that program.
And
Right?
which is that
So
ZBrush, the program?
the 3D one I've got, yeah, it is
Yeah.
ZBrush. Yeah.
And
I started out with a free one, and then it was a collector that bought my very first piece, and that bought me the upgrade, and then I'm on the final upgrade at this point.
oh, nice.
So
Okay. That's
yeah,
that's cool. So looking before we get into the newer kind of 3D stuff that you're doing, there's so looking at your artwork, it's quite eclectic in the sense that you've got this kind of the storm is coming, trapped in the net. Is this kind of you experimented with some photography? You did some kind of I don't know if it's Photoshop or GIMP that you use, but you played with some kind of Photoshop and GIMP stuff, and then what kind of at the moment, do you feel like you're just kind of in an experimental phase trying to find what fits, or do you feel like you're moving towards more the 3D as like the permanent sort of thing that you want to pursue?
3D is definitely more the permanent solution. I'd like to get far more into it and actually get into creating clips.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do animation. Um, that's where I'd like to go with that. In the way of art, no, I am all over the place all the time.
Yeah.
It's never going to be the same thing. So if you see me, make 50 of one item, that might be the only time you're ever going to see 50 of them ever,
Yeah.
and not just of one item, but of one style.
No,
I do know I have
I like that. It
style.
really kind of embodies the the main kind of feel of what it means to be an outsider artist. And I think some people take that term in the wrong way, but I actually think it's a massive positive. I think that having that creative freedom and not being put into a box or anything like that is something that's really special, and it's one of the really cool things about crypto art. So the next question is why the name Nada BTC Crypto? And I kind of asked this at the beginning, but where did the name come from?
Nada came from just an old saying, just a way of saying nothing, right? Because that's
Yeah.
actually what it means, right? So, and it fit really well because actually the full name is Nada Digital. If you look at most of my works, even on my bay, the name is Nada Digital. So it fits well, being that I really don't do digital, so there's
Yeah.
no digital. Uh, doesn't make a whole lot of sense once you do digital, but you know, there's not much more behind it than that. I was 16 when I went by that nickname,
Okay. So it's just kind of
so
something
long
that
time.
stuck long term as an idea. Yeah. So okay, we'll move on from there. And the BTC.crypto, is that like that's an address you said? Is that like a ENS name?
Yeah, that's okay. So just like your .eth addresses there,
Yeah.
same thing except it's .crypto.
Ah, okay. Oh, so it's like a website. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause
it is. It's a domain name. So
yeah.
right now they're just, you can make a static website out of them,
Okay.
but that is because it's for Web3. So until we get a little farther down the line yet, we can get some dynamic sites going right now, but they're pretty small yet.
Oh,
So
so is that like the unstoppable domains where they're decentrally
that's
owned?
exactly what it is.
Ah, that's
Yeah,
cool. I really thought that was missing from the kind of crypto spaces because the domain name is always going to be centralized until we can fix that. The web's always going to have
yeah,
a point of failure. Um,
yeah. And I've been with them since I think 3 months after they had started up. So from before they ever sold them.
oh wow, okay, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's those are the sort of things where if you get the really good domain names, they're going to be worth a ton in the future. Um,
Yeah, and of course that's the hope. I mean, it would be nice.
yeah,
Um,
I definitely
but
think
at
if
the
you
same
have so you have BTC.crypto or nada BTC.crypto.
I know I have a BTCdex.crypto.
That's pretty good. I think that's probably going to be something someone wants later on. I think that's pretty good because you are a bit of a collector yourself as well, right? You've been
Yes.
collecting. So what's recently you've been doing NBA Top Shots? Is that right?
Yeah, sort of. I only just picked up one from them today because I had a couple dollars with them
Yeah.
left yet. But yeah, 5 months ago I bought 2 packs. When they first came out. So
And is
you
it?
know,
How does that work? Is that like? Is it kind of? I've not tried it myself. Is it like Pokemon cards in the sense that you buy a pack and you don't really know what you're gonna get?
yeah, it's just like going to a store and buying a tops pack of cards.
Yeah.
Except it's online, and they designed it before they put them on chain yet. So I think they're still in the midst of flipping these over onto Flow blockchain.
Okay.
And I wish them all the best of luck with them. I actually joined them because I really like the style they went with.
Yeah.
Right? Well,
I
don't know if you've seen them, but yeah, you can pull up the shot of a slam dunk or whatever. That's what you have.
I kind of wish I had got in earlier, because that's been a massive boon, right? It's really taken off.
Well, I wish I bought more packs.
Yeah. I hate it when that happens in crypto so much. It's like I wish I bought more crypto voxels at the start. I wish I bought more.
Yeah. Who would have known? I mean, holy crap!
Yeah.
I can't believe this card's going for 100K. Like, that's nuts.
It's kind of we're in a very strange moment where the punks are going for what was it, 1.1 million the other day?
Yeah. There, and it's the worst part about that. You got to kick your butt for it. Is that I could have picked one up for next to nothing.
Yeah, me too. I remember looking at them and thinking, oh, that's not worth it. And although I bought some pretty early crypto kitties, so I'm hoping that will happen to them too. I mean, I know there's probably still a lot of people sitting on crypto kitties that they bought for 20K, waiting for the day that they get the punk sort of feel. But yeah.
And I don't have a single one of those. I've got one crypto skull, and that's it. That's all I have.
I remember
there's a couple other ones out, but I've got nothing to share with anybody right now, unless I sell something. I've got school and
yeah. I actually wish I totally wish I'd bought more. It's all these little projects that were coming out at the beginning, and I was like, damn, I really should have just bought more of those things. Those it's regret. So if anyone thinks is on the fence about a cheap project, definitely jump in and buy some, because you'll regret it if you don't.
Yeah.
Crypto's one of the few places where buyer's remorse goes the opposite way around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as Second Realm says, it's just worth that for the small amount that it's going to cost you for that off chance, and that goes well before I ever met him. But had I given it any actual thought, I mean, who would have thought a little pixelated picture would be worth 1.1 million bucks?
I know, it's like looking at it and thinking, oh, I could have got one of these for about 50 quid, and now the minimum is like 20 grand. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I should have bought the entire collection.
Mm-hmm.
How did you... So the next question is, how did you come into crypto? How did you kind of get into it? What was the point at which you kind of entered the market?
I don't know the exact time I entered. I entered on a slow summer, probably in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So on the downward trajectory of everything.
I mean, that's a good time to get in, like, because you get to see it. Like, you weren't there for the horrible 80% drop. Yeah.
Oh no, I was, because I caught it in March, so that was just barely at the beginning of the downward spiral. So, and the very first thing I did, and I tell anybody who enters, and dear God, if they don't listen to anything from me, from you, or from anybody else in crypto, except for this one thing, is learn security of how to use your wallet.
Yes. I think every crypto user loses their keys at least once the first time. It's almost impossible. Everyone says exactly what we're saying, and everyone goes, oh, no, it'll be fine. And then one day it happens. It always happens. So yeah, don't lose your keys. Write down that seed phrase.
For sure, and write it down several times if you have to. It doesn't matter, and write it out in pen.
Get it tattooed in different parts all over your body.
But just the use of them, like, it's amazing how many people will just throw away their crypto by not knowing how to use a wallet.
Yeah.
Or how, like, and when I say I learned how to use a wallet, I mean, I read when I send somebody something, I read their address line for line
Yeah.
before I actually hit send.
No,
Right.
that's
So it is almost, I don't think I've sent anything to the wrong address ever.
well,
I have had
touch
one
wood
time.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, but but because of doing this, I caught somebody changing out one of the addresses that I was sending to. So I caught the man in the middle of a trick.
Ah, okay.
Um, yeah, only one time. This is not a normal occurrence. You don't have people breaking into your computers and your wallets daily. This is
No.
ridiculous. It doesn't happen.
No, it happens if
But when
you're
it does
very
happen,
unlucky, or you sign up
yeah,
to something you shouldn't have signed up. So you usually have to make a
yeah,
mistake of some kind. It's as far as I know, it's almost impossible to hack most of the softwares that are used for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you leave stuff on your computer that's got all your passwords and whatnot, yeah, you're kind of asking for
Yeah.
some issues just from some random kid on the net who's playing around and lands on your computer. And,
Yeah.
that's more likely the way you're going to lose your money.
Yeah.
If you're getting, if a hacker has found you and he's going to, chase you down, he's getting your stuff, whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
if he's good. So there's very little you can do from that aspect. So as long as he doesn't have access to it, at least you give him a little bit of a game, and then you try and get your stuff before he finishes you off. So,
Yeah. I mean, I think the funny thing about crypto is even with all of this tech, the best backup is still paper. And not to
yep,
actually have anything on the
absolutely.
computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that. So we've explored this a little bit, but what's the kind of main themes of your work? Like, I know it's kind of all over the place, but would you say that there's something that runs kind of central to it?
Uh, at this point, believe it or not, being that with the color issues, I'm actually more on learning about colors right now. So everything that you're seeing come out for me at this point really has to do a lot with more color experimentation. So I'm trying to gauge the what people are liking and what they're not, and then trying to match that in my head with what those colors actually may be.
Okay.
Um, but past that, I love sci-fi, just love it, right? So crazy monsters, out of this world robots. I love Robotech too, also. So, I don't even think they have that anymore. But I haven't gotten into that because right now I'm just learning these programs, right? So
Yeah.
right now it's all about just doing the simple stuff. Everybody starts with a skull.
I was actually I
It's just
have your bone collector up on screen now, which is your first 3D work. Is that correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the very first one. That one's actually unrendered.
Okay.
So I didn't even know about rendering when I did that one. But I took a lot of time on that one. That was not, 5 minutes work. That's 25 hours of me playing around with it, and also crashed and lost half of that file before I got back to it.
Yeah.
So I'm huge on detail. So I like to spend a lot of time on a piece of art. There's even those pixelated potatoes. That's not 15 minutes work.
Yeah.
That's me coming back going, I don't like this color, or I don't like that pixel in that one spot. I change this stuff all the time. So it's kind of nice with blockchain with NFTs in the way that if somebody buys it, or not even that, if I mint it, that's it, it's done.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the only time in my entire life I get to say something's finished when
Okay.
it comes to my artwork.
Yeah.
Because other than that, it's never done. If it's in front of me 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, I'll still work on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
There's no end to it. So it's kind of nice to be able to say it's done.
Well, it's kind of like it's almost like printing in a funny sort of way. The way that minting works, it's you can't once you've printed something out, that's it. I mean, I guess with printing you can go back and change it, but with NFTs you really can't. That's if you've made any mistakes, that's now part of the artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely. Which really brings up a weird phenomenon. All this burning,
Yeah.
all these artists burning their work. Now, there's a couple people that I follow that I know that if they have something, a hair out of place, they're going to burn it, and they're going to take that same piece, fix that piece of hair, and mint it again.
Yeah.
And I respect that. But it got to the point that everybody thought this burning of everything is, you know what? If you don't like it, put it in a wallet for later.
Yeah,
You know,
I think the
put it in a
burning.
wall.
I think it's disappointing to do the burning thing because I mean I don't think a lot of the artists realize they're not actually burning it. They're just sending it to
No.
an. They're just sending. You can't actually ever get rid of it. It's there forever.
Yeah.
And if anyone ever happens to randomly get the unbelievably unlikely combination of all the zeros as their address,
Yeah.
then they're going to get access to that or the dead address from OpenSea. People like
Yeah.
there is at some point, whether it takes 100 or 1,000 years, someone will eventually be randomly assigned that address. So those artworks are going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, absolutely. You know what? And that's a pretty cool thought, really, if you think about it, because no matter how somebody gets it, like how I figure it's going to happen, and I've always thought that it will happen this way. And quote me on it. It's going to be a hacker that gets that wallet.
yeah. I'm not
Just
sure if you can
one-
get the 0001 because I think it might be coded into ETH, so you can't. No one can get it, but you can. The dead address that people use
If
for
it's in a
OpenSea,
code,
that's
it can be cracked.
yeah, no, definitely. But the dead address could randomly get assigned to anyone at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which would be, I think, a disaster for a lot of artists. And I think there's like 170 million in there, so it's not.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a big
I
payday.
looked at that.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess every time you create a MetaMask in a funny sort of way, you're playing the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, it's interesting, but that's something I don't understand. The idea that it I feel it came over from crypto itself, where everybody's burning tokens, right? A company goes, oh, I got 10 billion tokens,
Yeah.
and then 2 years later they're like, okay, we're burning 9 billion. Well, that somehow inflated the price, which is the worst thing that anybody's ever told you. That's
Yeah.
never been true so far.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's been inflated unbelievably without crashing back down after a burn.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's spilled over to NFTs, and everybody's burning them like it's gonna. I don't know what they think they're doing. Just put it into a vault. That's it. And I know a few other artists. That's exactly what they do. They're like, well, okay, I've had this one up for X months or whatever. It's going into a vault.
Well, I think Jay Delay's spam wallet that evolved into the Rats
Yeah.
project. I think that's a really cool way of doing it. Rather than throwing it away,
Yeah.
you can exchange it with other artists, or you can. I liked his. I actually really liked his spam wallet idea, where it was just why delete it, send it here.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's. I think it's nice to have the mistakes, and I think sometimes the mistakes, what people think are mistakes, actually turn out to be some of the best works.
Yeah. It's the movie industry does this all the time. They'll make a movie and they won't put it out for 6 or 7 years because it's just they realized that after finishing the movie it wasn't the right time for it.
Yeah.
So your artwork may be the same way. You all of a sudden 10 years from now everybody wants that piece you made 10 years prior.
Yeah.
Because it fits in.
Exactly. And then so your second, was it the virus? Is your second 3D art?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah, that one's just random thing around as that's me as an artist in of itself 100%. That was a round ball of clay and I just put pen to paper and went with it.
Yeah.
So that's more that's you're looking at me right there in that. I'm not big on I could have spent a lot more time on it. In the way of colors and whatnot, but I really wanted to get off to something else. That one was just having fun one night, sitting on the couch and just spent a few hours, and then the next night a few more hours, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll make it. And no worries, it doesn't make it any less better or worse than anything else that I'm ever gonna make.
Yeah.
It's just, that is me. It's just random.
No, and that brings me to the next question, which is, so what is your process? What kind of, or like, I guess not just process, but what is your kind of ritual? How do you get ready for creating an artwork? And then what do you do while you create an artwork? How do you kind of get in the zone?
Fair enough. That's a great question, and I love the answers from most of the people because everybody's got their own ritual. Me, it's extremely simple. I sit down. At this point, there's no paper, so now I just open up the computer, plug in the tablet, and open up the screen, put the pen down to the tablet, and start. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no other ritual other than I might have a coffee in front of me. I usually don't have music going because I'm all in my dining room, so TV is on the next room and
Yeah.
kids off in the other room doing whatever. And I just stare at the screen and just go.
Kind of, do you feel
That's
like
it.
you kind of get into a sort of trance-like state after a while? I find when I'm working on something, I can't, I really get frustrated if someone interrupts me directly, because you kind of get into that almost, trance-like sort of way. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with you. I'm quite like that. Yeah. Once I'm in it, I could, if they're 16 hours down the road, somebody said, "Hey, look, you need to get some sleep." I might be like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was that late."
Yeah, yeah, it's nice when time kind of flies. I almost don't like having the clock in the corner of my computer. I wish it was, wish it was gone. It'd be nicer to just kind of really, really dive into stuff. So, next question is, how did you get into crypto art?
Uh, Actually, I have to thank Unstoppable Domains for that
Yeah.
because I didn't know what an NFT was before them. No idea. So I didn't know what you could do with an NFT. I just knew what they were doing.
Oh, and I
And
didn't know Unstoppable Domains. Are they actually NFTs?
yeah, yeah,
Ah, okay.
they're whatever 721.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only reason I ever learned the name NFT. So, or the abbreviation. And then a couple of the guys were trying to get Unstoppable to make it so that we could put our own artwork with our name. So that when we were, if you try and go and sell it on OpenSea, at least you'd have something with it, right?
Yeah.
So far, no go. Nobody's got anything more than the typical blue and white UD sign on there.
Yeah.
Um, and they did their own thing. I think they came out with Unstoppable Animals or something like that. I have a couple of those, but they were giving them away for free. Where I think it was one of their kids was making the artwork for it or something. I can't remember exactly. But that's as far as they got with allowing anybody to do any artwork with them. So once I learned that you could create art, or you could tag art with an NFT, I thought, well, this is great. So COVID hit, and there you go. All
And
of a
then I
sudden,
mean, also in a funny sort of way, it was good timing that the kind of you had discovered this kind of new digital world once the lockdown happened. Yeah. So that was kind of a bit of serendipity. I think a lot of people in the space are finding that was incredibly kind of lucky timing, in the sense that if they didn't have that, they would have not had anything to kind of do day to day.
absolutely.
Mm.
And I grew up with computer scientists, so I'm definitely no stranger to a computer. I can't code nothing. Could probably, if I remember correctly, put a computer back together for you. But past that, I leave all the coding and everything up to my family members. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been threatened to get kicked out of a few computer programming programs as I was growing up as a kid, just because having the knowledge of some of the stuff you can do with computer from an actual computer scientist is a little scary to some of the teachers. So
Yeah.
uh, so I went out in the world and worked with my hands. So I went and built Canada. That's what I
So
did.
yeah, what did you do before crypto art?
I was a baker for somewhere around a decade, and then in construction for the last 25, 30 years. So,
Wow. Okay. So I mean, I think that's one of the most amazing things about this space is everyone comes from such different walks of life, and it really is accessible to absolutely anyone. Like anyone can come and be a part of it, and what's great is it's showing kind of the fact that there's talent everywhere. You don't have to train. You can learn it. Everything online is free. Well,
Yeah.
some programs cost money, but you can jump into it at almost zero cost. Yeah.
You can, and that's a great thing. Like, you say you can jump in for zero cost, and you absolutely can if you have access to a computer
Yeah,
and
of course.
internet,
Yeah.
and even nowadays, especially with COVID, you have programs out there everywhere that are trying to give everybody access to this,
Yeah.
right? And then you can take it that step farther. So if you want to learn how to do something other than art, there's a program out there for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
everything's accessible for the first time ever. Anything you want to
yeah,
learn is there. It's at your fingertips. And I think it's cool that there's with crypto art, there's another option. It's not just people saying, "Oh, retrain, learn code, all of this sort of stuff." There's other ways
yeah,
and other avenues that people can take. And I think crypto art doesn't get enough credit for that as a whole, the whole community, and the whole space as a whole, for kind of giving people a different option to make money from their computer, because most of the ways
yeah,
up till now that you make money from your computer are relatively dull. This is like a lot more of a kind of fun, interesting way to do it. Before it was all trading or it was coding, or this is much more
yeah.
obvious creative.
Well, the economy, online economy, is just it's just an infant yet.
Yeah.
If it, and if we don't think so, it only took COVID to prove to us that it's just in its infancy.
Yeah.
Right. This is so I don't know where we're going to be 34 years from now, but I picture headsets on and virtually tripping around
Everyone plugged in.
the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
like,
not too bad as long as you've got kind of stuff to do on there that's fun and communities that are fulfilling.
yeah,
I think that's the important part. Is a lot of people have bad impressions of the internet, maybe because of the places that they've been and the people who they've been around. But it's almost like in life, it's who you surround yourself with is the quality of how well it
yeah.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah, don't surf free porn and you'll be fine.
Yeah, avoid certain search terms. Put safe search on.
Yeah,
So
yeah, put safe search.
so that actually brings me into the next question, which is, how did you get into crypto art? Oh, sorry, I asked that already. Sorry.
Yeah.
How did any advice for new artists?
Yes, absolutely. You gotta do what. Oh, I don't know how to put it. You gotta do you. You really do. You can't do the next artist. Don't do the next artist. Study from the next artist. Learn from him. Like I learned from tons of great crypto artists. Their color work, their line work, the layers. Like I didn't know what a layer was. What I had no clue. That I could have X amount of layers, and I could just peel one off if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's learning stuff like that. So take the time to learn the programs, but learn on the go if that's who you are. I learn on a go. So
Yeah, I mean,
I finish a piece that does not make me professional at ZBrush. I've got 4 pieces off of ZBrush, or 5. Some I haven't brought out yet. But I have to learn how to properly use the paint brushes yet, and the layers in order to get, like, say, this octopus that I'm doing. I put a lot of time into the features on that thing. Now I could spend a lot more time easily, but I want to be able to put the colors on that to bring the rest of it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to just slap some color on it and send it out to somebody and say, hey, buy my artwork. No, I want to put it out there. I want it to be real. I want it to be heartfelt for me. I want time involved in it. And I want somebody to go at it and go, wow, there's some details in there. The more I look at it, the more I realize that this person actually spent time on it.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And that's who I look for artists. Even guys that are doing straight, most of the artwork I have in my wallet is 2D, right? I don't collect a lot of 3D stuff, but that is really honestly because a lot of the 3D artists out there are getting free software and free items and then slapping some colors on them and
Yeah,
sending them out as their
you
own.
do see the use of free assets a lot, and then it almost got to the point where there's been a few artists who have floated through BAE, and I was convinced. I actually scared off an artist. I feel kind of bad, but I was convinced that he was copying it from somewhere because I recognized, they're kind of the big people statues, and they're always then like in the ocean or something like that, and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
because it felt so familiar. I was so
yeah.
convinced that he must be ripping it off, and then I looked everywhere, and obviously it turned out he wasn't. And it was kind of embarrassing, and he went off to a different platform because I was interrogating him a bit too much. But but you see them, and you're like, I've seen this artwork before. I know, what this I've seen someone else do this, yeah.
And in 90% of the time, it when you have that feeling, that's because they copied it from somebody.
Yeah.
That's how I've caught almost everybody who's been a fake so far. It's like wait a minute. Even 15 years ago, I caught, I saw something that I liked, and I remember, and so all of a sudden I see it now. It's like, wait a minute, something's not right here, and you do a couple searches, and you find out that 15 years ago an artist brought it out in a book.
Yeah.
It's somebody's hoping to get.
They're getting hard. They're getting better and better at doing that. But there is, I guess, there's always a gut feeling that something's too good to be true, and that's usually it can lead to some embarrassing kind of faux pas when you when they are real, and then you're like, oh, you're too good to be to be legitimate.
Yeah.
I guess but it's kind of a good. It's almost a good insult, is when someone's...
Yeah, you know what? And I think that person should take that as a good insult. It's like, hey, look, you liked the work, but you felt it was familiar some way, so you thought it was what it wasn't. And, okay, so you offended him. Hopefully he sees this one day, and goes, wow, okay, you know what? It's really not that big of a deal.
No, yeah, it's a good thing.
If somebody wants to call me a fake, by all means, go ahead and prove it.
Yes,
that's your job.
Yeah, exactly. No, as a platform. So we spoke about this a lot, but I think it's worth maybe getting into kind of how is the learning process in 3D? Like how would you suggest people get into that? Would you say it's one of those things that's quite easy? Because I think a lot of people look at it as it's kind of quite a difficult. It seems like it's going to be really overwhelming from this looking at it, but how would you say the learning curve is?
Oh, you know what? The learning curve is it's not easy. It's by any means. It fit well in my hand, and from hand to brain, it went well. But there's so much in these programs, like the stuff you can do, but you have to play around with it. So you're stuck for a long time playing with the features on there. So I suggest it is doable. Anybody can hop into 3D. There's some really good guys out there that charge nothing or next to nothing, and they give some great advice and great tutorials. And I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not ashamed of it. I follow a fella on I paid, I think, $5 or $10 for some tutorials from him, and he's great. What I like about him the most is he is a production guy in 3D. So what do you do in production? You do everything as quick as you can, as best as you can to get it out. So that means you use, if you get somebody makes something and you like it, well, you can go ahead and use it in 3D.
Yeah.
But he learned how to make it first. And that's why I'm learning from him. So the skull I did, the octopus, that is all from scratch. That's not somebody else's piece that I went and just slapped some stuff on.
I think that's great. I think it's really cool that you're doing the starting from scratch sort of thing. I don't think there's enough, like we said, 3D artists that kind of do that. So the other question I had kind of in my head was when you're working with these sort of things. I can't. Oh God, I've forgotten where I was going with it. It was a good question. I'll come back to it. I'll remember it.
Don't worry.
But the learning process with the 3D. So after you've created these models and kind of are you looking into kind of doing backdrops? Are you looking into putting them into another program? Where's the kind of next step you feel after you get that was it. Sorry, completely going to change it. You're one of the few 3D artists who I haven't seen make a donut. Why is that? When is your donut coming?
How's my donut? My donut's fine. You're not allowed to talk about it.
No, but and in all seriousness, most people who do the tutorials start their first artwork they make is a donut.
You know, and I didn't know that. I just know that a few of the guys like oh shit.
Shaolin, Robness. Yeah.
That Shaolin there gets me. That, you know what? And I find it hilarious, and I really don't like the donut. I'm sorry, guys. I don't. But Shaolin.
What are you talking about? The donut's the most traded artwork on BAE. It goes from one person to the next constantly.
It's crazy. But Shaolin's donut was awesome. I mean, I even made him a sticker for it. You know, like. No, that one. But he really digs deep into his colors. Like, he goes crazy with his colors, and I love it.
Yeah. No,
I want to get me on your collection list or on your collector's list. That's what it's the colors.
Yeah.
Spend your time on colors. That's what I like, because it's different for me. It's not what you think it is. So something that really grabs my attention is totally different.
And then there's these little bits here, the blocked and the damaged bits. Are these kind of experiments with trying to kind of work out GIFs and things like that? Is that what they come from?
Oh, the one there, the colorful one there?
Yeah, that it flashes around quite a lot and moves. Is that just kind of like playing with the idea of making a GIF, or? Yeah.
I think there's just two GIFs that I made, right? Yeah. One was pixelated, which was just me learning layers.
Yeah.
Right. And then putting them in motion. So that one's just all that is fully learning pixelated, learning how to layer my pixels, and putting them in motion. I like that one a lot, actually. I haven't shipped it back to my wallet yet, because some of them I ship back to my other wallet.
Oh, right.
Just everything's so expensive to move around right now. So
I think they I really like I really like about your artwork is that you can see from the start, you can see this development, and you've got it's almost like one of the really cool things I thought could happen in crypto art, and I think that you're kind of showing this, is it's almost like your sketchbook has been put online, and it's getting better and better, and you can see the quality increasing, and you can see the interests and what you're trying out and all these different things, and I think that's really kind of I think that's really cool. It's a different.
Yeah.
I haven't seen many artists that it really is you working out everything from scratch, and I think that's a really cool thing.
And I'm glad that you see that, because that's exactly what it is. You are watching me progress as a brand new student on digital art, right? I'm not a student in art. I'm a student in digital art.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you're not an artist, you're not going to take sculpting very well. So 3D is going to be rough.
Okay.
If you're going from scratch and you're not an artist. If you're an artist, 3D is going to be well. And if you're a guy, and there's some people that can take everybody's artwork and mosh it all together and meld it and twist it and make it their own, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do take other people's work and make it yours.
Yeah, right? So you like the kind of collaboration, because I think it is more collaboration. Some artists it's usually the weirdest thing about that is it's usually the artists who are selling for a lot of money who get the funniest about people remixing their art, and I think that's I think it's cool to have a collaboration sort of atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It doesn't take much for me to get a hold of any of these artists on Twitter and say, hey, look, do you mind if I take a piece of your work? I want to twist it this way here, or do something different. Do you want your name on it? Do you want part of it? What do you want?
Yeah.
You know, and they could say yes or no, and the worst answer they can ever say is no.
Yeah.
Now, I can be a prick to go ahead and still take it. You know?
Yeah, I think there are some artists who do that. But yeah, it's always better to ask first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get in trouble from some of the trash artists for that. They're like, "Well, why do you ask?" And it's like, "Well, because I respect people." You know,
Because
and
it's
it's not
just
that you don't
it's
respect
just out
people
of
being trash
politeness, right?
artists. Yeah, it's just who I am, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to just take somebody's artwork and make it my own because that's incorrect.
Yeah. I think that's a nice
Feeling,
way of looking at it. I think it's always better to ask. I do think sometimes people are doing it to make a statement or whatever, and that's fine too.
that's
But
fine.
I think generally just because of how easy it is to actually contact everyone now, you may as well
Absolutely,
just
yeah.
ask. Yeah. Yeah.
I think somebody threatened me one day they were going to take a piece that I had and make it their own. And I'm like, okay, have at it. You know, like that's, you're not scaring me none. Just make sure it looks good, right? Like in your own way.
Yeah.
Don't make it mine. I don't want my name on it after.
Yeah. After
And it's
it's
not
your
that I'm
thing
worried
now.
about the stuff being made. It's just if you're going to take it from me to make it yours.
Yeah.
Don't take it from me to be a prick.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. Yeah. It's no. That's totally true. It's just make it your own. Is That's a
Yeah,
good way of looking at it.
absolutely. You know, and that's where the unofficial crypto punks are. I love it. That's great.
I
It's
think.
completely different from crypto punks, and yet it's the same.
Yeah,
So it's
I think it's a cool idea. I think that that's fun, and also it gives us all the opportunity to buy one. All us plebs who didn't buy one at the beginning.
yeah, no, no. You
Yeah.
know, if somebody gets rich off of that, great, good on
I
them.
mean, you
You
never
know,
know, right? As long as it seems to be in a lot of crypto, if you're the first person to do it, you're gonna be rich from it. Like that guy who did the fake Banksy recently. That was
yeah.
yeah. It's like it's everyone kind of knew, but we're like, well, no one else has done it before, so we're gonna buy it.
And I won't touch it because he's
Yeah.
not the only guy that did it before. It's just he's the only guy that got noticed.
Yeah, but he did.
I
I
had
guess
a guy that
he put the most work into faking it. Was the
yeah.
yeah.
The last guy who tried to sell me one, I'm like, what the hell? I said, it's not yours.
Yeah.
It wasn't even real. It was just a screenshot. It was a good screenshot, but
Yeah.
you know, nonetheless, it's no, that's not the first. It's not the last.
Yeah.
But you're not getting my money for it. You're not. It's not happening. I'm not second row. I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even want it in my wallet. So just don't.
So don't send it to me because I might send it to the spam address or get some rats for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
By the way, I have to say that rat program that Jay's got is actually quite awesome. That's a great idea.
I think it's really cool being able to swap NFTs and you trade them for the token. I think it's just a great. I think it's a cooler use case than throwing your NFT away. I think that
Yeah.
it's a fun thing to do. So finally, and before we kind of get on to like anything else you'd like to add, you started a clothing line. Where can people buy it, and what's kind of what's on it? What is it?
Well, I started the idea at the beginning of COVID. I've always, my entire life, wanted my own clothing line. Now, with that being said, before I say anything else, I took that off of Twitter, and I've yet to shut down the store. Although I've never actually marketed it, so thank goodness I haven't sold any. But the T-shirts are crap.
Oh, really?
The quality of like I have a sweater. I decided to I test everything out.
Yeah.
I was 15 years old when I learned how to silk screen.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow. Oh cool. Oh, so you've
yeah.
got some experience in printing. I mean, that's actually really interesting. So and what's the
I
experience in printing?
believe it
How
or
does that
not,
tie in?
yeah. I have lots of different artwork classes behind me that I just won't talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did get into silk screening. I mean, I've got lots of actual printing behind me. I've got photography. I've got airbrushing, tattooing.
Oh wow.
If I can make art with it, chances are I've done it.
Okay, so you've
I
given kind of everything a go. So what how come you
yeah.
so the you do tattoo work, you do silk screening. So how long were you doing that for? Was that something you did at school, or was that something you kind of pursued professionally?
I did it at school and professionally at a shop for a short period of time. A lot of times I just go in and try something out. So I don't spend like years on it or whatever. But it doesn't take long to pick it up. If you really are into art, you're gonna pick up every art, right? So a graphic artist is an artist, and lots of people would disagree, but no, you know what? I was into graphic arts for years and years and years. Um, uh, why I didn't pursue it in secondary school, I don't know. Um, just didn't, and I kind of fell out of art. Um, just because I got busy working.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, you got kids, you got to work.
Yeah.
So, and my wife would shoot me now saying that because I've been so far out of work lately. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
But I was also never home.
Yeah.
I was always out at work, so I still go out whenever. Like we've had some time off of school for breaks here and there. I went up to a mine twice and did some work temporarily while I was, on break. So, I'd love to sit down and spend more time on a computer on some art, but
Yeah.
still got to go out and do something. And then when school's over, because now I'm taking mechanics. So when school's over, then it's back to work full time too. And when I go full time, it's usually not just for 8 hours, right? It's full time, right? Like I usually.
So
am gone for a
you're
long time.
working, you're at school, you have kids, you have a family, and you're doing crypto art as well.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know how you have the time. That's incredible. Like that's really
I
inspiring.
still have too much time on my hands.
Yeah. No, but seriously, that's seriously inspiring. And anyone watching this, that's really inspirational. That you find the time to do all those things, and that you're grinding through all of that. People should definitely buy more of your art. It's
But thank you. That would help. My wife would love it a lot. Because I have to say that she supports me through this whole thing. Like right now, that's it. That's how we make it. My wife affords us the ability to be able to go ahead and move on with a career change.
Yeah.
Right? So, and during a pandemic, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. No, that's
big
amazing.
ups on her.
So is there, we're coming up to an hour now, we finish wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to add? Is there anything else that you kind of want to say to artists? I know we did is there any advice for new artists, but like, is there anything kind of you want to finish on?
Yeah, buy more artwork from my bay.
Definitely.
It's a platform underutilized completely, and we have some really great artists on there. 100%. Just spend some time going through, connect your wallet and like the artwork that you see. Give that little love that it's in the right hand bottom corner. There's a little heart there. Click on it. Follow these people. Really spend some time there because you, as a platform owner, you design that thing. You spend a lot of time on it. I know you do.
Yeah, I'm on it all the time. I see whenever. Luckily, I tend to see what goes wrong just before anyone else does, so I can preempt it. But yeah.
And if anybody goes on there and finds that something's glitchy, get a hold of Sasha, or even get a hold of me so I can get a hold of Sasha.
Yeah, we
always fix it
as soon as we possibly can. I'm quite try and be as proactive as possible with that. But we've luckily on that side we've finished. Hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, all the bugs are fixed now. So we're moving into launching the achievement system, which is basically going to be a way of earning BAE pay. A lot of the artists who are already on the platform, you'll find you've already earned quite a large amount of achievements, so it will be like another little airdrop for the artists. A lot smaller than the previous ones, more in like the hundreds at most, but it's still a nice little extra. That's fantastic. So this has been Nada. Thank you so much for coming on. Like really inspirational story, having kind of going through learning it from the beginning. Before we go, there's a couple of people watching. If you guys have any questions, just pop it in the chat really quickly. We'll wait around for a little bit. But you can watch more of these. I try and do them weekly, but generally I don't end up doing them weekly. Then there'll
You're
be
so
more.
busy. I'm surprised you had an hour out of your time.
Oh, it's the weekend, so I choose to do two things on my weekend: is create a virtual girl, and and do live streams like that. That's kind of my side project at the moment. I mean, I'm the same. I like learning new stuff, so I've gone through learning live 2D and all sorts of strange and bizarre programs on this journey. It's fun picking up new things, and you'd be surprised. You learn one program and then you don't realize how well it ties in to something else. So like you learn keyframing in one place and then you realize, oh, now I understand that thing that I didn't get in video editing before. I never really understood the concept, but now I've I don't know, using different programs and a lot of freeware will help you understand other programs.
Isn't that just amazing how much freeware there is? Like,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
I mean,
Like, holy crap.
I'm really
You
bad.
don't have to buy a single program.
What programs? So that's actually a good question. Actually, what programs do you use for kind of freeware? What would you suggest as the best stuff to get started? So, from someone who came from kind of literally just discovering this, what would you say was the best programs to start off with?
I probably took a whole bunch off of my phone, but like for pixel work, I use Pixel Studio.
And is that a mobile phone app?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I do on my computer is I've got the full Adobe suite for all their all their stuff.
I think
I
Adobe.
haven't gotten into learning.
Yes, the Adobe's
I haven't
fun.
gotten into learning again.
I definitely think it's a learning curve as well. But once you get everything kind of flows from Photoshop, so especially the older programs. I can't learn the newer ones like XD and stuff; they're too complicated. But they're all quite logically made. The old ones, like they all, yeah. But sorry. So what list of freeware, like if you had to go top 3 programs for people getting into digital art, what would you say?
Pixel
It would cost.
Pixel Studios there from for Android. I'm an Android guy, so if you guys look it up on iPhone, good on you. I just picked up Motion Ninja, which has got to do with video editing, and it actually looks really interesting and really good. Most of that is free, and then the good old actually Photoshop just for Android has got a really good free app.
Okay.
And it's nice and easy to use. It's not the full kit and caboodle, so you can go on and throw filters on and play around with your photo and not mess it up very much. The only trouble I have is some of the guys in crypto are really, really, really good with their phones.
Yeah.
And you know how to get the best resolution out of it and how to create the best of everything they can get for the least amount. And big good on them. That's not me. so if and then now I'm on the other end. So the stuff that I've got that's going to be coming onto my Bay right away is like high end, right?
Yeah.
Like so.
Well, no, I think the stuff that I've seen, and unfortunately we haven't shown it this episode, but the kind of prelude to it was the other 3D stuff that I've been showing on screen. But the stuff, like, it's phenomenal, the quality, like, you've really put a lot of time in it. I can't wait for people to see, kind of, I've put the bone collector back on. But, so from this to what you've shown recently is unbelievable. Like, the progression is incredible. I think you've really taken to it in a way that's great.
And you probably already know already, so I may as well just say it over here. But I will be opening up a second shop on my Bay, and it's going to be strictly for my 3D. Right? And then any 2D pictures that I make off of that, I will put back onto my normal Nata digital side of things there. So I'll have 2, one for 3D and one for 2D.
So yeah, you heard it here first. Keep a lookout for that. Obviously, as soon as you've created these and they put them up, they'll be on the featured page. I can't wait to show them off.
Well, thank you.
All right.